Welcome back to Guernsey Shipwrecks. It's 29 degrees and it's Tuesday night. It's just gone past 5 and we're going to go and dive the ammo wreck and see what's on there. Hopefully some congers and some pelt and stuff. Welcome back. Before we go on to the shipwreck, we're going to go and get some scallops first. We're going to have a look at the little bits of sea life. This is a long-legged spider crab. Looks like he's been in the walls. He's missing a leg or two. The seabed around here is reef and sand, nice soft sand. So this is the prime place you're going to find scallops. Just having a little swim along and see if I can see any of the telltale signs. There's one there, but it's too small. There's another one there, but it's too small. There's another one there. Too small. Too small. So, the good sign here, they're all too small. But, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. I can dig one out and just see how big they actually are. Might be big enough to take them to. I think they might just be big enough. Anyway, if not, I'll sort them on the boat and then we'll chuck them back if they're too small. So this is quite common at the moment. These big male spider crabs actually run for you. Molly said exactly the same thing. That spider crabs are coming off the reef and running towards him. So at the moment I'm just on my knees, turn the lights on just to see what he's actually doing. Certainly not scared of me. No, he's run over, he's not sure what he wants to do. My old trick of you just lay your hand on top, and if it's as wide as your fingers, it's big enough, but that's not big enough. So I'll put him straight back in the hole and try and cover him over with a little bit of sand. It doesn't matter if you don't cover them over with sand, they cover themselves. It's the same crab again. So instead of him chasing me, I start chasing him. See what he's doing. So I've come up the slope a little bit more now, so it's a bit shallower and you see the weed starts to grow in the shallower water. Just looking at this scallop is feeding, but because he's seen me now, he's not sucking in and blowing out the water. I'm patiently waiting and waiting to see if he does it. He definitely knows I'm watching him though. Nope, maybe not today. Anyway, he's coming home with me. That's definitely big enough. Oh, there's another one there as I'm looking. That one's big enough as well. Some decent sized scallops here. Here's two more scallops. They look pretty tight on size. Oh, that one's definitely too small. I'll put that one back. So I just lifted my head for a second then just to see where I was, and loads of fish coming over. I think these might be smelts, but if I just stay still and don't breathe as much, don't hold my breath, because that's the #1 rule of diving, never hold your breath. So I'm just carefully waiting, see if they all come in close. There's quite a few of them and they don't seem to be too bothered about me being there. I'll I'll just see if I can get away with turning my lights on now and see if I can get some nice footage of them. The issue with the lights on is you can see all this horrible backscatter, all snotty bits in the water, but yeah, they're coming in so you can see them a bit better. I'm not sure if they are smelts. If anyone knows what they are, please tell me. There's a scallop. Oh, did you see that? Watch these little fan things. Whoop. Suck straight back in. That's pretty quick. And there's a scallop just sitting there, look. He must have swum up there and got trapped. It's alright, I'll free you. Straight in the dive bag. Someone must have tiled their bathroom lately, because there's loads of white offcuts of tiles, as you can see. Not quite sure who would end up taking tiles out to sea and throwing them over the side, but anyway. There's a well camoed spider crab. Doesn't think I've seen him, but I have. If you're one of the 63% of people that are unsubscribed at the moment, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel. Thanks. Another bit of seabed where there's a couple of big ones and a couple of small ones. So the beauty of hand diving for scallops is you can be really choosy of which ones you take. Pick up the ones that are big enough and just leave the small ones. See, there's two more scallops. And it's interesting, you see the rings on the back of these scallops. You can almost age them a bit like a tree trunk. So that one looks like it's 3 years old. 3 distinctive rings. The life cycle of a scallop is quite simple. It's sperm and eggs, and then it turns into a D larva, and at that time it's pelagic, so it's floating around, and then it's metamorphosis into a newly settled juvenile, which is less than a millimetre, and that takes 15 days roughly, and then it turns into an early juvenile, which takes roughly another 4 months, and they are less than 3 millimetres, and then between 3 and 4 years it turns into an adult, and they're less than 180 millimetres in width. So after 4 years they restock themselves. I haven't seen one of these for a long time. This is a small cuttlefish, and he's trying to back away from me very slowly, so he doesn't think I've seen him. Can you hear that noise in the background? That's a boat, probably, I don't know, a few hundred metres away from me. It's so noisy. Gives you a little bit of a different perspective when you see speedboats going out and the noise they produce. It's an oyster shell. Been eaten by something, probably a starfish or something like that. Okay, maybe that's getting a little bit closer now. Getting noisy. Here we get a little sneak peek of how they swim. So this one's probably about a year old. Lovely colours of them when they're this young. It's probably 40-50 mil wide, this one. So far too small to take, but in 3 or 4 years time it will be, so we're going to look after the small ones. This is a okay bag, I suppose. It's about average for me, 25, 30 in the bag. I can hear the boat, but I can't see it. Ah, there it is, motoring straight over the top of me. Not quite sure what they're doing.
You got past him, Richard. Hang on. So childish.
Yes, I know.
Ready? Sidebar.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Oh! Right yourself there.
He's miles away.
He's standing bobbing, man.
10 metres.
Go for the square.
So that's what they were doing, they're trying to dive bomb me. It's actually pretty scary when you're doing your safety stop and then all of a sudden someone drops out the sky straight next to you. So they tried making me jump, but it didn't work this time. Looks like we got the both silver spray boats. That's number 1, and number 2 comes in about an hour later. They must be on a fishing trip over from Poole.
Drop Keely back and now we're on our way back out again. That's if the cargo ship goes. The Trinity's running late, so we might not be able to dive it. Oh well, if we don't dive the ammo wreck, we'll go and do something else.
So the Trinity was running an hour or so late, so we decided to go and do another shipwreck.
Empty husks from where the dolphins are probably eating them, taking a bite out of them. Yeah, a few dead ones. Is that a crystal as well? Yeah. Yeah, crystal jelly. It's dead. There's another one there. That one's alive. Oh, that's a compass, I think. Compass jelly. See 4 different varieties in. So I didn't do the ammo wreck, instead we're going to do the stone barge. No one really knows anything about the stone barge. Free diving. Free diving.
Right, there goes Phil.
Yeah.
Phil's on his way down. Let us know what it's like, eh?
Yeah, alright mate, see you in a minute.
Got to cool off because it's still about 27, 28 degrees now. Pick you up in an hour.
Stop rowing.
Yeah. There's the harbour mouth, just in the middle there. This is where the wreck is. See if we can get it on the sounder. That's the start of it, mate. 24 down to 28.
Yeah.
Going down the length of it. It will all make sense when we dive on it and you see actually what it looks like. So we know roughly where the shipwreck is. We haven't shot at it, we've just literally just got in the water and swum to the bottom. So it's a matter of looking for it. It's in 24, 26, 27 metres. So we'll just swim along the seabed now until we see it. So now I've just looked at my computer and I know we're heading down the slope still and we're going to be too deep, so we turn around and swim north along the slope again. There's some more of them fish there, whatever them fish are. Oh, scallop. Looks like that's either come out someone's bag or it's been swimming. This is a good sign. There's a bit of metal and I can see some little pincers hanging out from underneath it. So I'm not quite sure what part of the wreck this is, but it's definitely part of the barge. That's a bonus, I'll have that.
Okay.
Looks like an old bottle of some sort. Might be an old one. Carefully waft away the sand. No, I can already tell that's not an old bottle. That's a modern bottle. Clear glass modern bottle. That can go back. Still picking scallops up, but we can't find the shipwreck yet. I'm sure it'll come up soon. The only information I know about this shipwreck was it was a barge, and it was used for holding all these stones when they're making the harbour. And there was a storm, and the storm ripped out the mooring to hold this barge, and it drifted out the harbour, and no one ever seen it again. So it must have come out the harbour 300-400 metres and then sunk in the poor weather. It's worth mentioning the harbours were built in the 1850s to 1860s, or the majority of the work was done at that time. Although it's only a pile of rocks, there's a lot of life on this. It must be the way the rocks are stacked on top of each other gives a lot of protection to the fish. But we got all sorts here. We got little tiny miniature bibs, or pelting as we call them. They're absolutely tiny. I don't think I've ever seen any this small before. And we got a wrasse. There's a couple of wrasses, a cuckoo wrasse and a ballan wrasse. This larger one's a ballan wrasse. There's spider crabs on top of the mound. This looks like some metal winch or bracket or drum for a winch. Looks like it's been snapped in half. Or now it's a home for a lobster. This is the other half. Looked like it had some sort of wheel or a cog or something on the end of it, which is now broken. Starting to get very low on air now, so I'm gonna have to tell Phil I'm gonna go up. Must have been a substantial barge, because some of these boulders at the front are huge. And that's diver talk for I'm going to have a swim around, I'm going to be 5 minutes. Couldn't even guess how much weight in stones there. 80, 100 tons? Don't know, we'll never know.